Bueno, gracias por las preguntas, gracias por las respuestas. Pueden también seguir dialogando en el chat, pero ahora vamos a darles un gran agradecimiento al programa de Europubhealth por estar con nosotros y compartir la experiencia y toda la propuesta de su programa. Y vamos a recibir a Haijeia con su presentación.
Hola, buenas tardes. I'm going to speak in English because although I can understand Spanish more or less, I cannot speak it. So first, I'd like to thank the invitation to be here. We're very glad to be here presenting the idea. And I will start sharing my presentation. Okay. Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to present you the IGEA project. You might think IGEA might sound like a strange word for you, but IGEA is actually the name of a Greek goddess. She is the goddess of health, of prevention instead of cure. So our idea is to have a master dedicated not to medicines and to drugs, but all to the very important non-drug strategies that are really important for health and well-being, for health promotion. And so IGEA, the goddess, was our inspiration, and it's also the name of our masters. So we have an approach which is holistic, but science-based. And that idea comes from the need that we observe that nowadays we have a lot of interdisciplinarity in the approaches for health and well-being, but at the same time, we don't have people with appropriate training for these interdisciplinary approaches, because we have programs dedicated to nutrition, dedicated to physical activity and to other specific subjects, but there's almost nothing that integrates the different areas, and it's something that the market is demanding. So we wanted to design an educational project, which is an international educational project that addresses this societal challenge and that integrates those different areas. Also because the health and well-being market is huge and is growing, and we need to have people with proper training and with evidence-based and science-based knowledge to address these areas. So that was the idea. So we tried to integrate nutrition, lifestyle, and some non-drug products such as cosmetics, food supplements, and digital tools that nowadays play also a big role in our health and well-being strategies. And as I was saying, we also feel that it is a really big need that the society has, because many people working in this area, they don't have the proper knowledge. And sometimes we see that society follows some influencers that don't have the knowledge, don't have the scientific basis. And we have a lot of misinformation, we have a lot of fake news in this field. So we wanted to design a program based on evidence, based on science, but that addresses these societal challenges. And also because in terms of market, if you look for the market of cosmetics, if you look for the market of food supplements, it's increasing, it's growing and growing, and still there is limited people with the right skills to address this market. So based on this initial idea, we developed a co-creation approach. So we had surveys to potential future students. We organized several focus groups with stakeholders to design the syllabus and define what would be this training course in this area. And that's how we came to IGEA. So IGEA involves three main academic partners: Universidade Lusófona in Lisbon, Portugal, then the University of the Balearic Islands, so in Spain, in Mallorca, and also the University of Belgrade in Serbia. So the program has only one track all students start in Lisbon for the immersion semester. Then they will move to the Balearic Islands for a semester dedicated to nutrition and lifestyle. The third semester will be on Belgrade and is dedicated to non-drug products, so mostly cosmetics and food supplements. And the fourth semester could be anywhere in the world as long as the entity has a protocol with our consortium. So that's the flow of our master program. And then we have a lot of stakeholders involved in our consortium. We have other universities, we have industries, professional associations, research institutes, healthcare providers, medical societies, and the consortium is still growing because IGEA is a very, very recent master's. We are in our first year, so we have now the first intake of students, and they started like 1 month and a half ago. So it's still in the very beginning of the program. So this is our syllabus. So here, of course, I'm not going into detail, but the kinds of courses that you might expect in IGEA. So our immersion semester, the one dedicated to nutrition and lifestyle, and the one more dedicated to the products. And the final one is the dissertation or master thesis. But alongside with all those courses, we have a lot of complementary activities. We had done a very cool boot camp this year to start for the kickoff of the masters. Then a summer school is foreseen in Spain, a winter school in Serbia, and also all semesters we are organizing the Meet the Stakeholders events to promote the connection between students and the major stakeholders of the area. Here you have some photos showing our collaboration with stakeholders. This is our room, our first cohort of students with some invited speakers from our consortium. Also a field trip that we made to a patient association. And in terms of opportunities for our graduates, we can foresee very different places where they can work. Well, an obvious possibility is R&D. After doing these masters, they can apply for a PhD program. Also, they can work in the industry, like cosmetics industry, food supplements industries. They will get adequate training during the masters, and they will contact a lot with stakeholders from these areas. So these are two good possibilities. Also services, because we have integrated services nowadays that combine nutrition and physical activity and lifestyle coaching. We have healthcare providers that are now starting to look a lot at prevention. So these professionals could have a good profile to work in this area. And also NGOs, advocacy, and similar activities. Regarding the types of students, we can have up to 25 students per intake. So we want to keep the number small to have a proximity with the students. From those students, we can have 16 full scholarships per intake, plus 4 students that don't have a full scholarship, but they will receive a tuition fee waiver. And then we can admit up to 5 self-funded students. This is the landscape of the first intake. So we received over 800 applications. It was a little bit overwhelming for the first year running. And from those, we admitted 19 students from 16 nationalities. And from those, 2 are from Latin America. We have 1 Mexican student who is here today and we'll talk to you in some minutes, and also a Colombian student. So, and here's the geographical distribution of our students and a nice picture of our boot camp that we made for the kickoff of the masters. So the profiles that we are looking for, well, we have some, as with all other masters, we have some mandatory requirements and the preferred attributes. So as mandatory requirements, we will admit students with an academic background that is in health or in life sciences, because of course we are doing a master's based on science. So if it's someone who has not the basics of biology, of biochemistry, of physiology, those students will not be able to cope with our training courses. So we demand some background in health or life sciences. and also proficiency in English. And you can see the specific English requirements in our website. Then there are other attributes that are not mandatory, but are a plus. And since this is very competitive, especially for the scholarships, it's something that if you have, you should highlight in your application. So previous international experience is a plus. Also some R&D experience could be just in your final project of your graduation. Many of you have done a little bit of research in the scope of your graduation projects. So highlight it because it's good for you to show that you have some skills related to R&D. Also, activity that you are involved in and that can show that you are proactive, that you have a dynamic profile, that you are team-oriented, and also that you are engaged with your community. So as we are working in health promotion, and well-being promotion, it's very important if you have some previous activity within your community, any health promotion activity, that's something that you should highlight in your application. And besides the requirements, we have some tips for you. Those are two of the mandatory documents that you need to provide in your application. So in your CV, you should highlight those things that I have just said before. And we have limits. In our case, it's 5 pages, so you need to stick to the limits. We don't want like 30 or 50 pages CVs, okay? So we don't have a mandatory template. We can use Europass or any other template. That's up to you. You can be creative on that, but stick to the limit of 5 pages. Then we also ask for letters of recommendation. We ask for 2, so it's good that these letters are from different institutions and that the person writing the letter should demonstrate that that person actually knows you. That's important. That is not a very generalistic recommendation letter. Also, the English certificate. In our website, we have the facts section, and in the facts section, all the English requirements are detailed, so you need to check if you comply with the English requirements, and if not, you'll not be eligible. We also ask for a letter of motivation. We give 3 topics that we want to be addressed in the motivation letter, and also a maximum length of 750 words. And that's something where you could show your uniqueness. So we received a lot of motivation letters that were just made by AI. And of course, ChatGPT writes the same for everyone, almost the same. So if you want to be considered, you must show that you are unique. And you should also use the motivation letter to show that you really want the IGEA program. Because if you write something so generalistic that could be used for IGEA or for any other program, you are not showing that you are really committed to IGEA. So it's important to show that you really want this program and why, okay? And then for the scholarships, we also ask for a portfolio. And what we ask for the portfolio are the bullets the bullet points that you can see here, like an overview of education, work experience, language and digital skills, 5 indicators, and other hobbies. Of course, that you might think that there's a big overlap with the CV. It's true, but the portfolio is where you can show that you are creative and that you are unique. So you don't need to send just a Word file, black and white. You can be creative. You can show that you are different. You can use the portfolio to draw our attention to your application, okay? And also, we don't give very detailed information on what the best indicators are. We have something in the facts, but not very detailed, because we want you to choose from your track what you think that could be a good indicator for this particular application. So it could be an award, it could be an activity that you've done in the community, it could be a paper that you published or a congress that you participated in. It could be many different things. It's up to you to decide. And it's also your opportunity to show us that you are unique and that you have the profile that we want for IGEA. And also some don'ts. So in the previous slide, I had the do's, now I have the don'ts, the red flags, what you should not do if you are applying to IGEA. We have a lot of information on the website, in the admission section, and also in the facts, so the frequently asked questions. Please don't write us an email asking for something which is already written on the website. So it shows that you are not successfully searching for information, and it is not a good sign, okay? Also, exceptions. Oh, I didn't make the English test, but I'm so good. I would love to join the program. Okay, I'm sorry, but those are the rules. We cannot make exceptions, okay? Also, don't send emails all the time, okay? We have very, I would say, insistent applicants. Also the language, you might disagree from the selection board, but it's very competitive. Of course, we are aware that we are leaving excellent students behind, but we cannot accept everyone. So just be respectful when talking to us, respect the instructions, the deadlines. And also a very important thing is that we are a program based on non-drug strategies. It doesn't mean that we are a program on alternative therapies. We are not. We are a science-based program, evidence-based program, but we want to convey information on non-drug strategies. It doesn't mean that we are against drugs. We're not. Most of the teachers are actually pharmacists and medical doctors. So we are not an alternative therapies masters. And if this is your aim, this is not the right program for you. Okay, then I will finish by asking you, if you are interested, you can search our website. We have a lot of information there. You can also follow us on social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. So you can see our news, our activities, and also application requirements and all that information. And now I will stop sharing. And I will give the floor to Breda. I think she's here. Is our Mexican student from this first cohort of students. So if she's here, please, Breda, just show up.
Sí, aquí estoy.
You are. Okay.
Hola, ¿cómo están todos? Me siento primero muy feliz de compartir como un poquito de mi experiencia. Esta es como la primera generación de IGEA, entonces es algo muy nuevo y siento que puede haber muchas dudas que a mí me hubiera encantado resolver cuando me tocó aplicar sin tener como muchas opiniones. Entonces a lo mejor pueden ir dejando sus dudas y poder contestando, o no sé si quieran que primero como que cuente un poco mi experiencia.
La puerta, ¿eh?
¿Sí me escuchan? ¿Todo bien, verdad?
Sí, sí.
Ok, perfecto, va, perdón. Entonces, igual voy contando un poquito de mi experiencia y si gustan dejar como, ok, tu experiencia, por favor, ya, listo, voy viendo el chat. Súper. Primero que nada, yo creo que es un máster que vale mucho la pena. Yo soy nutrióloga, como contexto un poco. Entonces, a mí el tipo de temas que estamos hablando ahorita en el máster me encantan, me fascinan. Vale mucho la pena porque como ya platicó la maestra ahorita, Ana, es un máster que se basa mucho en la ciencia, pero que a la vez toma en cuenta el estilo de vida de una manera holística increíble que yo nunca había visto antes. Sé que es cada vez un poco más conocida esta área, pero de verdad que yo nunca había visto un lugar en el que hubiera temas de suplementación, pero cosméticos. Estoy acostumbrada a verlo en nutrición, pero meter cosméticos también, meter suplementación, meter educación, meter herramientas digitales, meter estilo de vida en general, el medio ambiente es súper nuevo, es algo súper completo. Los maestros de verdad que se están esforzando mucho en darnos como toda la información de todas estas áreas, de meter todo esto que es tan complejo en un solo lugar, y estamos aprendiendo mucho. Súper atentos hasta ahorita con todos. Mencionó un poco lo de las actividades del bootcamp, la maestra ahorita. Hubo un bootcamp increíble al inicio, entonces creo que también hubo mucha apertura por parte de todos los estudiantes, y ahorita tenemos un grupo bien bonito, o sea, nos apoyamos mucho en todo, y se crea una comunidad muy bonita por todas las actividades que el máster está haciendo. se nota que le están echando muchas ganas. Entonces, lo notamos como estudiantes. ¿Qué más? Decirles que sí son varias horas las que estamos ahí en el salón y convivimos mucho, mucho todo el tiempo. Entonces, pues tener como una gran pasión por esto. Yo me siento como muy apasionada por todo lo que estamos viendo y muy feliz. Entonces, nada más recomendarle a todos eso, que si van a aplicar y todo, que estén seguros de que tienen mucha pasión por estos temas, porque como dijo Ana, no es algo que es medicina alternativa y ya está, sino que hay mucha ciencia detrás. Entonces, pues buscar que realmente te guste aprender desde esta base científica, pero integrar como y ver el estilo de vida y al cuerpo como un todo, ¿no? Hablamos también mucho de salud mental, hay muchos, nuestros backgrounds son muy distintos, tenemos psicóloga, fisioterapeuta, nutriólogos, doctor, entonces también es un poco de eso. No sé si hay alguna duda en específico, yo podría hablar de esto mil, pero quiero responder como a lo mejor algo que ya tengan como algunos estudiantes más específico, no sé si haya más dudas.
Andrea creo que levantó la mano.
Hola, Brady, una pregunta.
Hola.
Yo también soy nutrióloga, entonces me encantaría preguntarte cómo has sentido tú que este programa ha contribuido en tu conocimiento que pues ya traías tú en el tema de nutrición, cómo lo ha complementado.
Claro, qué bonita pregunta, gracias. Bastante, digo, tenemos muy poco como quiera en el programa. Yo en México me dedicaba mucho y había hecho cursos de psiconutrición y más holístico y tal, entonces ya traía como un background de eso, pero sí lo complementa mucho porque lo ves de manera muy profunda. Y además hay cosas que yo no veía. Por ejemplo, si a ti te llama la atención el tema de cosméticos y de encontrar como esa relación suplementación y cosméticos y medio ambiente e integrar todo eso al campo de la salud y de la nutrición, yo al menos en México no lo veía yo en mi carrera, no lo veía en el bachelor, entonces sí, lo complementa porque hay cosas que no ves, que no son parte normalmente de las unidades curriculares de nutriólogo, de un nutricionista. Yo no vi nada de cosméticos, poco de suplementación, era tan nuevo en ese momento, y en ese momento me refiero 3 años que terminé la carrera y hace pues 5 años que duró, era tan nuevo que no veías tanto y aquí te topas con demasiada información y la aprendes demasiado a profundidad y lo complementas con lo que ya sabes y con la educación del estilo de vida. Entonces, no sé, creo que puedo describirlo como conclusión como muy enriquecedor, como que todo lo que recibes todos los días suma y suma y suma y suma y sí, creo que no sé si te haya contestado la pregunta, espero que sí, Andrea.
Sí, muchas gracias, Brady.
De nada.
Bueno, hay varias preguntas ahí en el chat que
Sí,
obviamente después puedes seguir contestándolas.
Sí, ahorita pongo mis redes en el chat por si alguien quiere tener más información, como ahí me lo preguntaron.
Hay una pregunta que se refiere también a la asistencia a laboratorios y otros entornos. No sé si quieren contestar eso.
Okay, I can answer that. It depends on the course. We have most of our classes are theoretical practical, which means that we join both practice and case-based learning and problem-based learning with some theory. We also have some laboratory, but not in all curricular units. So you're gonna have more lab classes in the third semester in Belgrade because in Belgrade students are going to have the formulation and testing of cosmetics and formulation and testing of food supplements, and that is more laboratory based. In the other semesters, there are some labs, but it's mostly theoretical practical, so not so much lab, but there are some labs, yes.
No sé si hay algo más o si ya se nos acabó el tiempo.
El chat está permanentemente abierto, así que ahí pueden seguir interactuando y les van respondiendo las preguntas que quedaron. Pero sí vamos a dar el paso a Emotion, a
Gracias.
los presentadores y obviamente agradecerles muchísimo por venir a presentar el programa, por también entusiasmar a quienes nos están acompañando hoy para que apliquen. Y bueno, nos veremos en la edición que viene. Ahora sí, vamos a recibir al programa Emotion.
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you, Tracy. Yes, you can.
Maybe I can start by sharing my slides. Just a second.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Is everything all right? Can you see them?
Now, yes, perfect.
Okay, perfect. So thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Viviana, for the invitation. It's always so nice to participate in this event as last year, because I think that it is an occasion to promote the program, but also to listen to the other coordinators and the other experience and how the other Erasmus Mundus programs are structured and managed. So it is always very interesting for me to listen to the others, and congratulations to the other coordinators for the two previous programs. I think that they are doing great, especially Hygia. I know what it means being at the beginning of an Erasmus Mundus. It's quite difficult to manage everything in the first year, and congratulations for the number of applications that you received, which is very high for the first year of an Erasmus Mundus. So I'm gonna talk about Emotion, my program. My name is Tracy Pirali, and I'm the coordinator of this program. Emotion is a program related to skin health and care sector, and it is very similar to Hygia in the sense that we use a very holistic approach. So we try to train the students in 3 different fields, which are cosmetic products, dermatological drugs, and medical devices. And we do that training the students in the different aspects that are involved in the research and development process. So it's not just about formulation, it's not just about quality assurance or regulatory affairs. We try to train the students in all these different aspects that are involved in the research and development process. So we are 3 different universities in Europe. I belong to the University of Piemonte Orientale, which is located in Novara, in the north of Italy. Novara is a city between Milan and Turin, in the north. And then we have the University Miguel de Hernández, which is located in Spain, in the south of Spain, in a city named Elche. And then we have the University of Namur in Belgium. And besides these 3 universities, our consortium also involves 4 different associated partners, which are companies working in the sector of skin health and care, but there are many other companies, as I will show you later, that are involved in our program. So this is more or less the mobility scheme of Emotion. So students start their first year in Italy, and they study in Novara for 1 year. And then at the end of the first year, they can choose between 2 different paths. One in Spain regarding the non-clinical development of skincare products, and one in Belgium related to the clinical development of these products. And at the end of the 3rd semester, they then spend final period during an internship in a company or in academia. So they are free to choose to do their internship in university or in an industry. So here you can see the teaching program. Obviously, it is well detailed on the website. So if you are interested to see all the different courses that we teach in Emotion, I suggest that you read everything in the website. But more or less what we do is to train the students in the first year regarding the science around the skin. So mainly anatomy, physiology, pathology of the skin, dermatology, regulatory affairs, pharmacology, medicinal chemistry, quality control, and so on. And then at the end of the first year, as I said before, the student can choose between 2 different paths. One in Spain, which is the non-clinical path. So in Spain, they learn about the evaluation of skincare products, which means an evaluation of both the efficacy and the safety of the products, while in the option non-clinical, the clinical option in Namur, they learn about the clinical development of skincare products. So you know that clinical trials are obviously mandatory for drugs, but are becoming more and more important also for cosmetics. And so I think that this clinical path is an added value in the program because there are not so many programs that teach about the clinical development. So, I mean, how to monitor, how to design, and how to evaluate the clinical results of a clinical trial. So which are the benefits in the Emotion program? Emotion is an established program because it started in 2018, so a few years ago, and it is also a program which is flagged by the European Union as a good practice. It is fully taught in English. It is a full-time program which is given in presence, so no blended modality is allowed. There are many practical activities, many laboratories, and many seminars which are given by guest lecturers who come from companies. There are also different visits that are organized by the Emotion staff, where in different cosmetic companies and also in fairs. For instance, every year we organize a fair which is we organize a visit in Cosmoprof, which is a fair which is held in Bologna in Italy every year. And it is a global fair about cosmetic products that attract cosmetic companies from all over the world. There are also 2 different workshops every year. So on soft skills, entrepreneurship, and also recent trends of the market. As I said before, the last 6 months are dedicated to an internship, which is usually performed in companies, but can also be performed at university. We offer also career coaching, which means that the student is followed by a coach who explains how to search for a job, how to do an interview, how to prepare a CV. And this is very important, not only in the search for an internship, but also in the search for future employment. We give the possibility to the students of choosing freely the destination of their 3rd semester and also the destination of their internship. So they can really go wherever they choose for their internship in every place in the world, provided that the internship is obviously related to the skin health and care sector. The degree which is delivered through Emotion is a double multiple degree. So there are 2 different titles that are delivered after the master. And finally, the master program involves 3 different universities in 3 European cities, which are mid-sized cities where the quality of life is quite high, and they are also located in beautiful settings, as you can see in these 3 pictures here. So this is a list of the different companies that have hosted Emotion students in the past. And as you can see, these companies are located in Europe, Italy, Germany, France, Spain, many different countries. There are also some universities and research centers that have hosted Emotion students in the past. There are also multinational companies such as L'Oréal and La Roche-Posay that hosted our students, and we are very proud of it. Every year, we offer 30 different places, 18 places which are covered by an Erasmus Plus scholarship, 7 places which are for non-fee paying self-funded students. This means that the student does not receive the scholarship, but does not pay the fee, which is quite convenient. And every year we also offer 5 places for fee-paying self-funded students, and the amount of the fee is 4,500 euros per year. So applications will open in Emotion in 3 days. So they will open the 1st of November, and they will be open until the end of January. And this is the first round. The first round is dedicated to scholarships and no fee paying places, while the second round for fee paying places will open in June, in the month of June. So if you are not selected for a scholarship or for a non-fee paying place, there is the opportunity to apply during the second round in June. The scholarships are very competitive because every year we receive more or less 1,000 applications for the scholarship. So there is a lot of competition for just 18 places. But the good news is that Emotion has asked for scholarships for targeted regions. And targeted regions, as you can see here, also include Latin America. So every year we have at least 2 or 3 places which are dedicated to Latin America, with some restrictions for Brazil and Mexico. Another thing that I would like to highlight that was already mentioned by the previous programs is that if you are not eligible for a scholarship, if you are not selected for a scholarship, you have the opportunity to ask for different fundings. For instance, I'm aware that in Latin America there are different bodies that offer some economic support for students who study in Erasmus Mundus programs. So be informed about these opportunities. For instance, in Mexico, I know that there is a Sequiti, and in Colombia there is Colfuturo, and it happened in the past that one of our students was funded by one of these bodies. In the photo you can see Samantha. Samantha, for instance, last year had the fee paid by Colfuturo. She's a student coming from Colombia. Here you can see more or less how the selection process works. I'm not going into detail about that because everything is already well described in the website. Maybe I can just tell you which are the criteria that we use in the selection process. So we evaluate the academic record, so mainly the GPA, even if we recognize that this GPA value is very different from one country to another. So it's not something that can be considered too much. So it's something that, yeah, we take care of, but it's not something that we consider in order to decide if a student should be selected or should not be selected. Because besides GPA, we also evaluate the merit in general. So for instance, a second degree, extracurricular activities, relevance to the master, awards, and so on, motivation letter, and the referee's evaluation, which is a letter written by referee. Based on this criteria, there is a first ranking, and the top ranked applicants are then invited for an interview, an online interview. There is difference compared to the previous edition, so we decided to introduce different part in the interview, which is a presentation of a scientific paper, which is usually sent by mail 1 week before the interview, so that the student can prepare about this scientific paper and can then make a presentation where he or she presents the paper with slides in just 7 minutes. And this is really important. We think that this is a good way to evaluate, especially the background, the scientific background of the candidate. And then there is part of the interview which is dedicated to the description of the motivation, the expectations of the master, and so on, and a final discussion and question part. And then based on the evaluation of the interview, there is the final ranking, and usually students are notified by the end of March. So which is the student profile that we are seeking? So we are looking for students with a background in both chemistry and biology, with an excellent previous academic performance, with a genuine interest in the skin health and care sector, which means, given the holistic approach that I described before, that the candidate should be interested not only in one single aspect of research and development, not only formulation, but the general process of research and development, not only in cosmetics, but also in the pharmaceutical world and also in medical devices. And I think that flexibility is another a plus in the profile of an applicant, because you need to be versatile and flexible in spending 2 years of your life in different and diverse academic and cultural contexts. So some tips for a successful application, many of them have been already cited by the previous coordinator in the previous presentation, but my suggestions are to start early. So some documents take time. Applications in motion, as I said before, will open in November, so and will stay open until the end of January, so you have plenty of time to prepare everything. Read carefully the eligibility criteria, because I must say that usually 10% of the applications we received are not eligible, and this is a shame, because sometimes it's just a signature that is missing. So try to check that everything is in order. try to find your referee quite early, because it requires time to choose your referee and to receive a letter from the referee. What we evaluate is not the position held by the referee. This is something that we don't look at, but what we evaluate with a high point regarding the referee letter is that it's really detailed and personalized for the student, for the candidate. So it's better if it is detailed and personalized. A motivation letter is something that we really evaluate a lot. So my suggestion is try to write a sincere motivation letter, a genuine motivation letter. And as it was said before, I think that the use of artificial intelligence and ChatGPT is not something that makes your letter better compared to others. So there's a lot of competition around these scholarships, and my suggestion is try to write a letter that really stands out among the others. And the use of ChatGPT is something that doesn't work, because all the letters, as the previous presenter said, look the same. And so try to really use your heart, your brain, your hands in writing this letter, and not ChatGPT. This is, I think, the most important suggestion in this list. Double check before submitting, and stay professional and polite in all your communications, even in emails, because they count as part of the impression. Regarding career opportunities and job placements, the employability in Emotion is very good, because the skin health and care sector is growing a lot, and every day an innovative product is launched on the market. So employability is high in this field, and here you can find a list of different job opportunities that Emotion might lead to. On the right, you can see those positions that are offered when you select a specific pathway. So, I mean, if you choose a non-clinical development pathway, obviously you can think about a job opportunity as a formulation chemist, or as a regulatory affairs specialist, or a product developer. While if you choose the clinical pathway, probably you can become a clinical trial assistant, or a clinical project manager, or a clinical research associate. This list of different job opportunities is reflected in the answers that we usually receive from alumni, because every year, 1 year after graduation, we administer a survey to our alumni 1 year after graduation, and here you can see their answers, and you can see that more or less the positions are the ones that I described before. Emotion, as I said at the beginning of my presentation, is an established program, because it was started in 2018, and so it has grown a lot in these years. And here you can see some numbers. We have graduated more than 150 alumni that have represented more than 50 countries all over the world. Every year we receive a very high number of applications, so the attractiveness of the master is very high, and so far we have attracted more than 50 different companies and 50 different guest lecturers coming from the professional world. Some stories about our alumni. I can mention Roman, who discussed last week his PhD in the Netherlands about the skin regeneration. Roman was a student of Emotion. He is now an alumnus, and he concluded his PhD, which was also funded by the European Union. Also, Gabriela and Priyanshu are concluding their PhD in Canada. We have Duel and Aljon, who work in 2 cosmetic companies with a very high position in L'Oreal and Yepoda. Desire, who is a cosmetic scientist, a very known influencer in Nigeria, and Christina, who is responsible of the research and development department at Skit Tech. So here are some contacts. If you want to reach out to us, you can see our website, our email address, some QR codes for our social media. I invite you also to read our Emotion Student Magazine, which is run by Emotion students. You can see that it is a magazine where students write articles about skincare and health, because we think that also communication of science to the general public is a very important aspect in our program. And here, just a list of the different students that we had coming from Latin America throughout the years. So you can see that the attractiveness in Latin America increased a lot over time. And for instance, this year we have 10 students coming from Latin America. And tonight, here with me, there should be, I guess, Susan, who is an Emotion alumna, and also Lisa, who has just started Emotion. She started in September. She's studying here in Novara. Susan comes from Brazil. Lisa comes from Guatemala. And I think that there is also Valentina from Colombia with us, but I'm not sure about it. So now I just stop my presentation. And here I am.
Thank you, Tracy. Yes, there were many questions in the chat, and some of them were answered already. So also we invite if anyone wants to make the question out loud.
Yeah, I think that Valentina is here, so maybe she can say a couple words.
Yes.
And I don't know, Susan and Lisa. Lisa, I'm sure she is here. I saw her before. Maybe Lisa, you can say something.
Ciao, Tracy. I think I will be supporting on the chat. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I'm in the middle of a meeting, but I'm here. If you guys have any questions, please feel free
Thank
to
you,
reach
Valentina.
out.
Take care of the chat. And Lisa?
Hi, my name is Lisa. I'm a medical doctor from Guatemala, and I'm happy to be here to answer your questions through the chat also.
María Camila, hay una pregunta para hacer? Or in English? Yes.
Yes. Oh, okay, got it. So, hi, how are you? I'm Maria, and I'm really interested in this master. The question that I got is, I already saw that some of the students have a background in chemical engineering. I do have a background in chemical engineering. I just was wondering about that you said one of the things that you consider was biology.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that part because I did not see a lot of that in my career, but I did take some courses related to cosmetic design, but they were like outside. They were more like something that I decided to do on my own, not during my career. Is that okay, or how would that you consider?
Yeah, so we had in the past students with a degree in chemical engineering. Then we realized that having a background in biology is important, because if you don't know how a cell works, it's really difficult to understand how the skin works. So nowadays we try to look for students that have a background in chemistry and also in biology. And so what we do during the selection is to look at the transcript of record and pay attention if some courses in chemistry and biology were taken by the student. But it is also true that besides the transcript of record, we also consider the CV in general. So if you can prove, as in your case, that somehow you acquired a background in biology as well, this is something that the commission takes care of. So it's not just about the type of degree, or it's not just about the transcript of record, it's also something else. So if you followed a course, my suggestion is to highlight it, a course in biology, I mean, to highlight it in the motivation letter or in your CV, trying to highlight these things and trying to explain to the board that you have this type of background because you perform some activities that allowed you to learn something about biology.
Perfect, thank you. And that it's like, sorry, this is a follow-up question. And that's like, it can be like not main biology, but it could be something like related, like for example, biotechnology, or maybe like skin anatomy or something like that. Like,
yeah, it could be enough. Could be enough. I cannot guarantee you that, but could be enough.
Perfect, thank you.
Welcome.
María José, ¿tenías una pregunta?
Sí, muchas gracias. I wanted to ask a very specific question. I noticed that in the teaching program for the second year clinical specialization at the University of Namur, the practical training hours are not indicated. Does this imply that the students complete a project integrated with the theoretical modules, or could you please clarify how the practical aspect of this specific pathway is structured?
Okay, yes, sure. There is a tutored activity, which means that you are followed by your tutor, but you perform a practical activity in Namur related to the design of a clinical trial. So it's not just theory. This type of tutoring activity is really practical. Obviously, there are no laboratories in this case. Laboratories are mainly performed in the other pathway in Spain, where you do many different activities in the lab. In Namur, this is not done because the clinical trial pathway does not require any practical or laboratory activity, but there is this tutoring activity where you apply your theoretical knowledge to the design of a potential clinical trial and to the monitoring of the potential clinical trial. And it's something that allows you to apply your knowledge in a practical manner.
Okay, perfect. So we could say like the clinical path is stronger in academic and research focused, and the non-clinical path is more like industry and R&D oriented?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bien, siguen las preguntas en el chat, pero creo que Emily tenía ahí una pregunta. Emily, I don't know if you have a question to ask.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. My question is, in a case, for example, I are choosing for the next phase of the interview for the emotion master. In the part of interview, exactly they say when we need to present a research, a plan for evaluate the background, the students. What other things the people consider for the scholarship?
Okay, do you mean in the interview? Do you mean in the interview?
Yes, in the interview,
Okay,
in the
yeah.
specific part,
So,
all the parts that.
So in the first part, the candidate presents a scientific paper, which is sent 1 week before, as I told you before. So you will receive an article and you need to prepare a presentation by using some slides. And so what we evaluate in this part of the interview is the presentation skills, okay? And the background, because we usually, at the end of the presentation, ask some questions in order to understand if you have the background to really understand the scientific paper that was sent to you, okay? Then in the second part, there is a discussion about the motivation behind the choice of the emotion and about the choice of the destination for your third semester, because in the declaration form, when you apply for emotion, you need to indicate if you prefer the non-clinical or the clinical path, and during the interview, you need to motivate it. This is a non-binding choice. I mean, you choose the destination, but this choice is not binding, so you can change your mind during the first year of the master. And that's all. And then there is the last part of the interview, which is dedicated to Q&A. So also the candidate can ask questions to the board. And that's all. So the presentation about the scientific paper, obviously, you need to prepare slides. And another thing that we consider is also the attention to detail in the presentation of the slides. So the quality of the slides and the ability also to stay within the allotted time is something that we consider as well.
Okay, thank you very much. I have another question. I am biotechnology. I received some knowledge about skin, how to create some products, and after I graduate, I have like my own business in like making shampoos and some other things for products for hair. I don't know if it could be enough to apply for this master.
Yes. it's more than enough, because if you demonstrate that you have this interest in skin health and care, and if you talk about this own experience in the preparation of cosmetic products in the motivation letter, is for sure a plus. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Ok. Van a encontrar ahí en el chat también links de los programas, de los requisitos, y también quienes estuvieron respondiendo las preguntas y presentando dejaron también sus contactos, así que antes de finalizar la reunión les pido que revisen y tomen nota. Thank you very much, Tracy, for your presentation and for joining this event once again. And I hope we can meet next year as well.
I hope so.
Bueno, y muchas gracias a quienes acompañaron y estuvieron esta hora y media conociendo un poco más sobre cómo seguir potenciando su futuro académico, su futuro profesional, y les deseamos el mejor de los éxitos en la postulación que viene. Espero que hayan tomado nota de todo y bueno, les vaya muy bien. Esta edición también va a estar subida a YouTube y van a recibir también el video por si algo quedó ahí pendiente. Así que, bueno, muchas gracias. Thank you very much. And good afternoon, good night.
Thank you, everyone. I came a bit late.
Yes.
I was traveling, that's why I couldn't join, but I'm happy to have you here. Hope to have you next year. See you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.